Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to cover the introduction to server-side request forgery and let's see what we have here. The first, in this room you will learn what server-side request forgery is, what kind of impact they can have. You will use some example of server-side request forgery attacks, how you can discover server-side request forgery vulnerabilities, how to circumvent input rules, and then we have a practice for you against with to try your newfound skills. Okay, what is server-side request forgery? And SSRf stand for server-side request forgery. You know that obviously it's a vulnerability that allows a malicious user to cause the web servers to make an additional or edit HTTP request to the resources of the attacker's choosing. Okay. Then types of SSRF. There are two types of SSRF vulnerability. The first is a regular SSRF where data is returned to the attacker's screen. The second is a blind SSRF vulnerability where the SSRF occurs but no information is returned to the attacker's screen. What's the impact? A successful SSRS attack can result in any of the following. That is access to the unauthorized areas, access to the customer organizational data, abilities to scale the internal networks, and reveal authentication tokens or credentials. So, what is SSRF stand for? Then here it is. Just we will copy it, we will paste it. As opposed to the regular SSRF, what is the other type? The other type is blind. That should be the answer. Okay, that's it. Here we have to view the site and what they have to offer. Click the view button, which will take you through some common server-side request forgery examples, how to exploit them, and even simulate to see if you can take advantage of server-side request forgery vulnerabilities using what you got. Okay, we are going to take you through some sample server-side request forgery attacks and explain how they work. At the end of the example, you will handle the figures. You will handle. Oh, sorry. You will have to figure one out for yourself. Okay. The below example shows how the attackers can have complete control over the page request by the web server. The expected request is what the website.thm server is expecting to receive, with the section in red being the URL that the website will fetch for the information. The attacker can modify the areas in the red to a URL of their choice. Okay. Website.url is this, address request is okay. You see, website request this. Okay. The below example shows how an attacker can still reach the API.user page with only control over the path by utilizing directory traversal. When website.thm receives this is a message to move up a directory which removes the stop portion of the request and turn the final request into API and user. Expected item is URL slash item question mark ID request to 1 to 3. Hacker request like the last where we used 5 user tags, so something like that. Slash stop dot slash user. And API returns the data to the website instead of the stock information for sure and the website. Okay. Let's go to the next. In this example, the attackers can control the server but will domain to which the request is made, take notes of the payload, ending in and access equals to being used to stop the review path by being appended to the end of the attacker's URL and instead turn it into a parameter on the query string. Okay, let's see the normal example of all. Then here is course API website request a server of the attacker's choice. By doing so, we can capture request headers that are sent to the attacker's specific domain. These headers contain authentication credentials of the API key sent by the website.phl where they will normally authenticate to the API.website. The website stop URL, whatever it is, and we change the URL to http://academy.phl. The website requests data from the hacker which instead API. Very okay. And revealing the okay. That is also good. And now we have to do it. What you learn by challenging sorry, by changing the address in the browser to force the web server to pull data from Itna to make things easier. Essentially, that's part of it. Okay, yes, we have to type things here. Then just put it in the URL. Wait a minute. Server got API right. Okay, here it is. thm.api.id. No, this item as equals to then you include this string. Sorry, that's not okay. URL is equals to Next, should I change it? Um, something like that. What should we do? Not I guess. Take this and let's take it. Still, there is no nice. Okay. So next is finding an server-side request vulnerability. Potential SSRf vulnerabilities can be spotted in a web application in many different ways. Here's an example of four common places to look. When a full URL is used in a parameter in the address bar. A partial URL such as just host name, server history of URL, or perhaps only the path of the URL. Some of these examples are easier to exploit than others, and this is where a lot of trial and error can be required to find the working payload. If the working with the blind server request forgery where no output is reflected back to you, we will need to use an external HTTP logging tool to monitor the requests such as requestwin.com, your own HTTP server to shoots collaborator client. Okay. Based on a simple observation, which is each of the following URL is more likely to be vulnerable to server request forgery. Index. Observation, I think it should be the third one. Third, we have everything. Okay, maybe fourth because we have the item ID and the service. We can along with have some other values that can be requested. So perhaps the fourth one could be the right, right. Right. Okay. That's strong. Okay. Second, damn, I'm about to try every single thing to just get this done. Why is this more vulnerable compared to the fetch file.php? Okay, and then we have to frames.pdf. Server file storage.cloud.thm. We have to number as well. Not really sure. So, okay, let's get the most security savvy developers aware of the risk of some such a trustworthy vulnerabilities. They checks in their application to make sure the requested resources make specific needs. These are usually choice to do this. Either a denialist or a nihilist. Denialist where all requests are accepted apart from the resources specified in a list or a matching particular pattern. The application may employ a denial list to protect sensitive points. IP addresses are domain from being accessed by the public while still allowing access to other locations. A specific endpoint to restrict access is the location of the host, which may contain server performance data or other sensitive information, so the domain name such as a local host and 127.2.2.1 would appear on a denial list. Attackers can bypass and deny list by using alternative local host reference such as 2.2.2.2 or okay, we consider subdomains that have a DNS with which resolve to the IP. Okay, that can be done. It is denial list can also be done. Also, the cloud environment, it will be beneficial to block access to the IP addresses which contain metadata for the cloud server, including possible sensitive information. Attackers can bypass the registry or subdomains of their own domain with realistic errors that use the IP addresses 169.2.4.169. Allowist. List is a list where all the requests get denied unless they appear on the list. Such a URL, such a URL that you are using the parameter must begin with the HTTPS website.html and attacker actually circumvent this by considering the subdomain of an attacker with name such as okay. The application logic would not allow the input and then type of component terminals to request open redirect. If the above bypass does not work, there is one more to the attacker secret. Open redirect and open redirect is an endpoint on the server where the website visitors get automatically redirected to another website addresses. Takes for example the link below The endpoint is created to record the number of time visitors have clicked on the link. For advertising marketing purposes, first imagine there was potential subset request for every vulnerability that string, stringent, stagnant, stagnant, yeah, stringent rules, which only allows URLs to with HTTP/website that users and attack could utilize the public feature to redirect HTTP request to the domain web. That what type of list is used to format only certain input to the context. With these, my friend, in such a hurry, don't be hurry. That's what we learn in the social request test functions. We have done a school units for using the content discovery exercise against the RK90 support website. The first one is private, which gives us an error message explaining that the contents cannot be viewed from the IP address. The second is the new version of the customer account page that the customer the new account page with a unique feature allow customer to choose a character account. Being begin by clicking the start machine button to launch the RPA IP support website installing the tab URL. It can now then allow okay, then we have to start our tag box. First, create a customer account, then sign in. Okay, once you have signed, the site to view the new avatar factory feature by viewing the info of the avatar from the avatar from the field that contains the path to the image. Okay, the background image file can confirm this is above div element as per the screenshot. If you choose one of the avatar, then click on the update avatar button, you will see the font change. And about it, display your current selected avatar. Okay. View the page source, it will show you the current avatar is displayed using the data URLs scheme and the image content is base 64. Okay, we can simply decode it and voila. Now let's try making the request again but changing the avatar value to private in hopes that the server will access this resource and get past the IP address block. Okay, to try this firstly right click on the radio button on the avatar on the selecting tab. Inspect. Okay. We'll go to the radio. Make sure to select to the avatar you edit and then instead we will click on the update button. Fortunately, it looks like a well Patient in mind, everything I is in place, and then prompt access to the private reports. As you can see, the LMS of the product cannot start with private dot. We still got to make the pass to bypass. Use a directory transfer string. Okay, we are going to get that to the last video. To reach our destination endpoint, was set in the app driver x dot dot private. You will see you have bypassed the rule and the okay. Oh, so let me do this. Create. Okay, so let's restart now. And then we have to sign. Username. Let's ABC email address ABC type of name at the rate gmail.com. Then we will have a password six six. Okay, sign up. Mm, let's go to your account. There's nothing here. What is the site? Okay, this was it, I guess. So let's try on to the next tab. Okay, great. We have a URL here and then we try to inspect it. As said, okay, and to see where that is. Hmm, okay, okay. Let's see what do we have here. System count user username. No, not here. This one. Not here as well. Hmm, September. What the? Okay, okay. Okay. Oh, I want the condition. Okay. Not. Oh, there it is. There. So what we need to do is simply change this
avatar value for we have selected the first image with the value they provided here. Uh, that's this value. You simply have to copy it and paste it. Along with that, we will just get down and all we have to do is click on update use oh, avatar. There it is. We have to click on the update avatar, and after that, we uh, we have to go to the image section and we will find it here. The URL of our we will copy it and then we will go to the cyber stuff. Here, let's paste whatever value we have got. This 64 and then we will. Here is our flag, and that's conclude our today's machine. That is introduction to server side request forgery. And done. Thank you guys.